Basic Windows operating system security. In this lesson, we're going to look at security that's built right into the Windows operating system with some different utilities. So let's go ahead and get started. Microsoft Defender Antivirus. In Windows 10, Microsoft has provided a built in antivirus application to protect your system from malicious programs. The Microsoft Defender Antivirus is bundled with the Windows 10 and 11 operating systems and is provided to use free of charge. It is not a trial version, it is a full blown antivirus that's built right into the operating system or loaded right into the operating system. Now, to access the application, you can search for the application in the search bar, or you can access it on the main page when you go to the start and the settings icon. In the event that you're troubleshooting your system and have to disable the application, you can even disable in real time scanning and activation of the software so you can do troubleshooting steps. Sometimes this is needed if you're trying to even also run a special application. You can go to real time protection and just turn the application off and on from there. So let's look at the application in a little bit of detail. Defender Antivirus is a robust built in antivirus solution for your Windows operating system. Here's the main screen to the Microsoft Defender Antivirus. If you are working on an application and you needed to disable the antivirus for whatever reason, to install an application or troubleshooting, you would come here to the main screen and hit the Virus and Threat Protection settings. Click on Manage Settings, and it says Real Time Protection. So you can hit the on button and turn that off, and that turns off the real time protection. You'll get a pop up message letting you know that you've done something that's going to require approval. You hit yes, and that turns off the real time protection and allows you to troubleshoot the device or application in question. And you also get a pop up window down here. To activate the software again, you're going to hit on and turn it on. And this application will let you know that it is turned back on as well. And that's how you get the antivirus to start protecting your system again. Other key things with the antivirus software that's built into Windows is different other options that's built into the software. Now, if you go back to the main page of the antivirus protection, you can do a quick scan. You can do other scan options. These are just other options that's provided in the Microsoft Defender antivirus software. Also, you can check for updates manually. It's going to do it automatically, but you can check for updates manually as well. So again, key things about the Microsoft Defender antivirus software. Also, we have our Microsoft Defender firewall. It's an advanced host-based firewall that is integrated into Windows 10 and 11 operating system. Now, Windows Defender firewall is used to block access from the network, which reduces the surface attack for your Windows operating system. The firewall is divided and separated into profiles for your private networks, your public networks, and your domain networks if your computer is connected to a domain. Um, Again, another built in utility that Microsoft has built into the Windows operating system, its own built in software firewall. So let's have a closer look at this as well. Microsoft Defender Firewall is a robust built-in firewall or soft firewall in the Windows 10 operating system. The firewall has three different levels of protection: the domain level, the private network level, and the public network level. If you are needing to disable the firewall for troubleshooting an application or troubleshooting something on your computer and you need to disable the firewall, you can do it here from this screen. We'll go to the private network level and select that. And you'll see the Microsoft Defender firewall. Basically, this is how you turn or disable the firewall. And you would hit that switch right there, and it will see, it'll pop up a message letting you know that you're making changes to the firewall. You select yes, and this actually turns the firewall off to allow you to do whatever troubleshooting or whatever you needed to do. You'll get another pop up notice down here as well. To enable the firewall again, you'll hit that and turn it back on, and you'll get another pop up message. And that turns the firewall back on. So at this point, we're going to look at rules, setting up um, an outbound rule that blocks web traffic. With the Microsoft Defender firewall, you can set up incoming rules and outgoing rules. So we're going to set up an outgoing rule. And to do that, you're going to go to the advanced settings here. By selecting that, you'll get a pop up message. We'll select yes, and it'll pop up an applicant down here, and we'll open that up. And you'll see on the left-hand side, we have different rule selections, the inbound or the outbound rules. So we're going to set up an outbound rule. Again, we're going to block web traffic. So we're going to go to new rule. And again, your options here, you can set up a program or a port-based rule. And also there's some predefined rules as well that's right built into the operating system. We're going to choose port, and we're going to hit next. Since we're blocking HTTP, which is web traffic, we're going to use TCP. And the specific ports will be port 80 and port 443. And if you remember from our previous lessons, those are our web HTTP ports. We'll hit next. And we're going to block the connection. Hit next again. And we want this to apply across all three different levels. Next. And the name of this port will be block web pages. And we hit finish. Okay, so let's test this out. Let's open up our browser here. And we're going to go to www.cybrary.it and hit enter. Okay, our block is in place. Your internet access is blocked. And there you have it. That's how you set up an outbound rule to block web traffic. There's different levels of users and groups in the Microsoft operating system. So let's look at two different types. There's the local and the Microsoft account. The difference between these two is the local account has read and write privileges of its own files. Now, there's also a Microsoft account that you can create when you're starting up your operating system, when you're going through the wizard. The Microsoft account ties into cloud services, it's synchronization across all devices, and productivity tools like OneDrive. Um, if you log in with your Microsoft account, you'll have those access to those tools all across all devices. Now, on the account, you have different account types. You have your standard user. This, belongs to the local user group. You have the access and permissions over its own files and everything that it creates under that profile. Then you have the administrator. This is the most powerful account. It has rights to everything. The guest user is created by default, and this is for temporary users. If you're not going to be using the guest account, it is recommended that you disable that account. Then you have the power user. The power user is no longer used nowadays. It's no more power than a standard user, but it is still around in the Windows operating systems. There's also different login options. Windows Hello is a biometrics based technology that enables Windows 10 users and also in Windows 11 to authenticate secure access to their devices, apps, and online services and networks. This uses just a fingerprint, iris scan, or facial recognition. The sign in mechanism is essentially an alternative to passwords and is widely considered to be more user friendly, secure, reliable against critical devices, services, and data other than traditional passwords. Now, Windows Hello stores the user's credentials in a secure container called the Credential Manager. The Credential Manager is then locked and unlocked with the authentication of biometrics or PIN by the user. So once the Credential Manager is unlocked, credentials can be passed to the operating system to provide login credentials to whatever applications the user is going into. Now, this is the different ways that you could log into your system under the Windows Hello. Of course, we have the standard username and password. Then we have the PIN or the personal identification number, most common option for devices without a camera or fingerprint reader. Also, you can use a fingerprint on some devices that have a fingerprint reader. You can unlock the device with a fingerprint. Facial recognition. If your laptop has a camera, if your tablet has a camera, has the Windows operating system, you can log into the system by using facial recognition. Single sign on is another option that you'll see as well. Now, single sign on gives users access to all applications and systems when they log in. You sign in once and you have access to everything after that one single sign on. And this is often used in cloud based environments. Different type of permissions based on the file structure. NTFS versus just the regular share permissions. Now, NTFS and share permissions both allow the same goal. They prevent unauthorized access to critical folders. Now, there are critical differences between them. Now, share permissions only allows access to folders over a network. If you were connected to the network, that's the way the permissions work. But NTFS affects both network and local users. NTFS permissions are inherited from the parent folder down to the subfolders as well. Now, the only time that does not apply if you move a folder to a different folder or file to a different folder on the same volume. It retains the original permissions in the new location. So let's look at the NTFS and the share permissions in a little bit further detail. So in NTFS, these are the attributes that you have or the share types. You have the full control. You have modify, read, and execute. You can list folder contents, and you can also just have read. Whereas in the share, if you're going through the network to a shared drive or shared file or folder, the only permissions you would be able to attribute is full control, change, and read. That's it. That's only allowed to those users. User account control or UAC. You've probably seen this pop up when you're making a change or connecting somewhere. Administrators have special permissions and rights across the operating system. Windows allows you to use administrator rights without making the user an administrator. So you right click on the application and run as administrator. Then you'll have the user account control UAC prompt will prompt you. Basically, it's letting you know that it's you're doing this as an administrator, not as a regular person. So just to warn you that you're about to make changes as a administrator privilege or administrator role. So UAC limits access to software and notifies the user of important changes that you are about to make on that system. BitLocker. BitLocker is a software that's on the Windows operating system that encrypts the entire drive for protection. Even if you lose that drive or the drive is stolen, BitProtect, if it's under BitLocker, it's going to be encrypted. So this is available in all Windows versions except for the Home Edition. You can also use BitLocker on removable devices, removable drives. It's called BitLocker to go. Allows you to protect the removable drives. It uses the same encryption technology. Also, we want to be aware of the encrypting file system. This isn't available again in most editions of Windows. Allows for the encryption and decryption of files stored in the NTFS. Uses certificates to encrypt the data with key pairs, which is a very secure way of doing things. What the key pairs are generated, and if someone's trying to tamper with the device or get into that device without the other key, they would not be able to access that information or that data. So it protects it to make sure it's private. Okay, in this module, we talked about different security methods built right into the Windows operating system. We talked about the antivirus and the firewall. We talked about users and groups, login options, and we talked about share permissions as well as um, the BitLocker software. I want to thank you for joining me for this lesson, and I will see you in the next lesson.